Hi folks, how are we all doing today? My name's Luke. As always, I'm from Radford Creations. Welcome back to the channel, guys. So anyone who didn't watch my last video, I've injured my hand. I've tore some ligaments in my fingers, unable to grip, which makes blacksmithing very, very difficult, it seems. So yeah, so I'm sort of afraid I'm not going to be able to forge for the next few weeks, at very least, probably 3 or 4 weeks. Please bear with me, guys. I'm still going to be putting out some videos, as you can see today, but there's not been much forging involved. Hopefully in the next week or two I'm going to be able to grip the welder at very least, so I can continue with R2D2, which was the plan anyway. But yeah, so today the plan is I'm going to do a video that I've always wanted to do since starting this, but never could figure out how, and that is to watch and review some blacksmithing clips from TV and movies, and sort of talk about what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right, and all of the other good stuff. This is going to be a bit more of just a rambly video, so don't mind me when I'm talking absolute gibberish. So yeah, guys, the video's been put together by a friend of mine. It is 8 minutes 55 long. So let's get started. I'm going to be saying play and pause, but that's helped me in editing. So yeah. Right then, play. Okay, so here we have the legend himself, John Rambo, forging a knife. Of course, it's going to be a knife. It's John Rambo, yeah, doing a rose, is he? Forges at a good, steel, sorry, he's at a good forging temperature. Nice bright yellow. Yeah, okay, I can deal with this. He's swinging very hard, so you can pause. So you can see in his swing, like, he's wasting a lot of energy. So a lot of new beginners do this. So what they're doing is they're grabbing the hammer, and they think what they've got to do is like put all their shoulder into it. But what we want to be doing is holding the hammer right at the end and letting the hammer do the work. So the hammer's got a heavy head for good reason, and you're just letting it, yeah, like as it hits the face of the anvil, if you're using a proper anvil especially, it's going to rebound. You're going to get most of your swing back, so you're going to hit and it's going to rebound. It's going to bounce back up out of your hand, so, well, not out of your hand, but you know, back up into the top of your swing. So you know, you gives you most of the energy back from the swing, so you're going bing, 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 yeah, okay. Whereas, you know, a lot of new people, you're just going to spend hours like swinging into this, into your stuff like that. You're going to do yourself a shoulder injury. You're going to wear yourself out in 10 minutes, and it's not good for anything, is it? Right, play. Yeah. His swings are a little uneven, but you know, okay, yeah. Pause. Quenching knives into water. Of course, this is going to be a knife. I'm pretty sure this is from the Rambo film when he goes to Burma, isn't it? And this is these day and age, we're quenching oil when we're quenching high carbon steels, and that is simply because you quench high carbon steel in water for very many reasons, which I might do another video on while my hand isn't very well. Quenching in water, you're going to cause cracks and warping. You're going to cause all sorts of bad stuff, which we just don't want. I mean, you're just ruining the thing you've just worked on for ages. Also, when he did quench, it was bright yellow. Like when you're quenching, you want it sort of like cherry red, sort of just above. It's what's called critical temperature, which is when the steel loses its magnetic abilities, I suppose we'll say. And so as soon as it stops being magnetic, a little bit more, and then you quench. If you quenching at bright white temperatures, then you're just going to putting it more at risk of something going wrong and ruining the thing you've just spent hours working on. So we're quenching oil when we're doing high carbon knives, etc. Not water. This is something Hollywood always gets wrong. Right, play. Pulls it out of the water, it's still glowing. Why is it still glowing? This proves how hot it was. Or Okay, back to John Rambo. This is the new one, isn't it? Okay, he's doing this sort of. First of all, his anvil's way too high. Pause, by the way. And his anvil's just way too high. And it should be, as you're standing up, I've said this before, as you're standing up, it should be like just brushing your knuckles as your arms dangle by his side. His is up by his belly button, which means you're not getting, you're not getting the full swing. You're just up here. Whereas, if it's too low, you over swing and you're going to do yourself an injury. If it's too high, you're not getting your full swing. Excuse me. And he's doing this slightly annoying thing that new Blacksmith did. Again, I did this because I thought this is how you do it, which is not using your full swing. Again, like I've just said, like as you strike, you get most of it back, bang, and it comes back up, bang, and then you're just using the momentum of the hammer rather than you forcing the hammer down. He's still doing this a little bit, but what he's also doing is this, where they go bang, ding, ding, bang, ding, ding, which a lot of new blacksmiths do, and especially people who are unsure of themselves or not 100% what they're doing, or they think they need a second. All you're doing is wasting your swing there. All you're doing is wasting. Like the anvil is designed to push that back up and to give you most of your swing back, so it takes all the F out of it. All you're doing is stopping that coming down for a little tap that you don't need to do, and then coming and having to bring the hammer back up to come down again. It's just wasting energy, guys. We don't need to be doing that. You just did it again.
Afternoon.
Did you finish checking out the horses?
Yeah, pretty much.
Water again.
What you working on?
Nice little forge that though, isn't it? Ooh, is this I think it is. It's Game of Thrones. Is this the one where they take the big great sword and they melt it down into two swords? See, this is possible. You can turn one sword into two swords. Very, I mean, maybe not massively easily, but you certainly can be done. But I mean, you want to be either taking the steel, cutting it up, and reforge, forge welding it all back together to make two separate billets, which you turn into two separate swords, or I mean, you're just cutting it in two and then using that. See this. Right, pause. This thing that they've got at the moment, they're just putting in this open top sort of crucible type thing, and it's on a coal fire, and then it magically turns to this molten steel, and it's just not going to happen. I really don't think they would be able to get that hot enough to turn this steel, especially this special, Valerian steel, into any form of molten. It wouldn't get hot enough. And why would you want to? Like, swords aren't cast, swords are forged. This is the big misconception between what we do. We don't cast swords, we forge swords. Forging is moving steel or metal through heat. Not melting it down and casting it. Okay, play. So yeah, here it goes. Here it starts melting. Pouring it from one crucible into another for what reason? And that crucible was freezing cold. You're just starting again there. Here it is. Open top moulds. That steel wouldn't reach the end before cooling down. It would stop. It would stop before it got to the end, because you'd have like imperfections. You'd have gaps in the steel. Like, why would you want that? You had perfectly good bits of steel. What's this now? Oh, is this? This is Conan, isn't it? See how fast that moved across the screen? See how fast that steel moved across the screen? No, not a chance. It moves so slowly, and by the time we got to the end, right, pause. I'll draw this in something. But by the time that gets to the end, it's going to be cold, and you're just going to have so many problems with it. But if you look on the screen now, right at the top by the handle area, you can see the imperfection. You can see there's a gap where the steel hasn't filled the mould properly. Like why do you need this? Like, as far as I'm aware, throughout history, swords have never been cast. I mean, I'm sure someone's done it, and I'm sure it has been done, and it can be done. But why would you want to? Because it creates too many problems. I'm sure there's some smarty pants down in the comments telling me how wrong I am, and that how some ancient civilization used to cast their swords. But these days, well, I suppose this is Conan, but you know what I mean, casting swords hasn't been done for a very long time. So now they're forging it. Why? You've cast it to shape. Why are we forging now? And the anvil's on fire for some reason. Why would the anvil be on fire? Ooh, Lord of the Rings. Massive Lord of the Rings fan. So this is going to be the reforging and Narsil, yeah. See, right, pause. This is not how you put a sword back together. Not how you do it. If you break a sword, you can put all that steel back into one block and then reforge it, but this lining everything up and then it just magically all there's nothing to stick to. You know what I mean, you're forging down onto something. How are you making two things that are attaching sideways stick? Doesn't make sense. I suppose they're like magical elvish blacksmiths, but in real life that's not how you do it. You don't just stick them back together. Ooh, look, bing, 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 bing. Yeah, it's done. No, what you need to do is cut that into as many, you know, I mean, smaller pieces, and then put it all, stack it all up, get it forged by the temperature, and then make it one homogeneous piece, and then forge it back out into a sword. It can be done, but it's not in the way they're doing it. Jesus, look at that! Look at that swing! Such a good film. Look at it stepping back. Again, we spoke about this. What's this? It's like a game. Oh, is this? What's it called now? Kingdom Come Deliverance, something like that. Heating up his thing. It looked done, that sword did. I don't know why he would be heating it up more.
Do it.
Okay, he's burning through the handle. This is something that was done, especially back in these days. Like you have to heat up the sword and the hilt, and then you push the wood onto it, and it burns through, and it fits. You know, perfect fit. It's a bit hot. That sword was for a burn through. You probably wouldn't get. You probably burn way too quickly, and you'd lose your temper on your sword and stuff. Okay, whittling with a.
Altogether.
Yeah, I'm sure. There you go. So that's what you want. Look, nice sturdy fit on the handle. This is how it was done. The guard's really nice. Oh Jesus. Ooh. Okay, pause. So he's hammering it onto the. That would scare the life out of me. That's just way of breaking stuff. So as that gets, you know, that's thinner. That hilt goes all the way up. It's thinner. Risking bending it, and you would cracking the wood and stuff. I'm sure there are better ways of doing it. Also, he's just doing this like push fit. And I'm sure back in the day they would have done like like we still do it today. Like you know, the steel goes through the top of the pommel, and then you peen it over. So you basically like mushroom that down, which holds it all together. I mean, back in those days they didn't have two-part epoxy like we do now, which is just, if it rattles a little bit, you stick a bit more glue in it. But that push fit seems like it would come apart at some point. Maybe not straight away, but at some point. Right, plate. It's not a sword though. To be fair, it's mostly alright. It's a bit too hot on the burn through. Okay, what we got here? This is hunted. Okay, so he's picked up a piece of leaf spring. Fantastic knife steel if you've got nothing else. Tom Lee Jones making his rock, his flint knife, whatever it is. I've said about leaf spring, lots of micro cracks from use and stuff. It's not perfect, but if you're in the wilderness and you got nothing else, I suppose it's fantastic. Best thing you could have found, to be fair. Okay, pause. So he's found a really flat piece of rock, which is again the best he's going to find in this situation. He hasn't got a full blacksmithing studio. He's found a piece of leaf spring which is heated up to okay temperatures, but it seems weird if you look on the screen now. you can see that one end's like the colours are a bit off. Like one end's extremely hot, and then there's just a straight line where it's cold again. Yeah, you need to be careful with that. It could be putting more stress into the steel. You know what I mean? Like you want a bit more of a bit further down your steel. And he's using another piece of leaf spring as his hammer. Again, if you haven't got one, then I suppose it's the best thing you can use. But none of this is perfect. But let's say plate. Let's see. Okay. Pause. So, leaf spring is extremely difficult to work, especially like work hard and leaf springs. So difficult to work. Like, and he's doing these little ding 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 taps. You'd be there for weeks trying to move that leaf spring like that. Yeah. Movies, eh? He's got a rough thing. There you go. Bit of a better swing. Little flip. Oh, they're cool there. Might try that one day. In water. He ain't got nothing else though, you know, he ain't got his you know, Parks 50 paracord wrap. Perfectly feasible handle, like there's plenty of knives that have paracord wraps. Waterfall for some reason. Yeah. What's this? Highlander. Don't remember this from Highlander. Digging in the ground. This must be one of the later ones. I know they did like a load more. I've only seen the first one, because why would you want to watch the others? Piece of steel falls on tile and breaks it. Shock. Okay, what's he found? Blacksmithing tools. Very happy. I would be too if I found blacksmithing tools in the ground. Okay. Yeah. Okay, pause. You see that look he had on his face then? Every blacksmith's had that look on his face. His swings are a bit off, which is, again, beginners, people who don't know 100% what they're doing. But, you know, I mean, I still do it sometimes where you're just swinging, you're not hitting the same place and stuff. He's forging very cold. Like it's barely red. Like it's way too cold to be doing what he's trying to do. I'm assuming he's trying to forge a sword, which is what Highlander's all about, isn't it? Yeah, plate. Okay. Oh no, you didn't like that. Just look at this face. I've had that look 1,000 times. Nope, didn't like that one either. What's this magical block of steel on? Okay, pause. What happened then? Apparently swords disintegrate when they're struck. Apparently that's what happened, because that's what just happened to that one. Swords can snap, swords can bend, swords can break, swords can do all sorts of things. Swords do not disintegrate into dust when you strike them. Play. Oh, she's handing him the magical Japanese steel. Okay, pause. So I know that in this world, that folded steel is the whole thing, and I'm going to go into a video where, but folding steel does not make it stronger. Folding steel does not make it tougher or sharper or anything like that. Folding steel is something that the Japanese come up with. I don't even know what dates we're talking, but hundreds of years ago, and it was a way of removing impurities from steel, because obviously now we have much better smelting facilities and stuff, so we can make really clean steel. And back then they didn't know we're using blooms and bloomeries, and you get all these all stuff in the steel that you didn't really want in the steel, and they just used to deal with it for the most part. But then the Japanese come up with this fold steel. This is where you hear about folding steel in katanas, and they folded it and they folded it and they folded it, and every time they fold it, they're squeezing all these impurities out of the steel, and they made really, really good, not perfect, but really good steel. So let's play. But now she's giving him the magic steel that Highlander suddenly believes. He's oh yeah, here he goes. At least he's forging at the right temperature now, look at that. There you go, magic sword all of a sudden. Sweating. I always think he's a terrible sword. Like I'm not a sword. Like Jesus Christ, I don't know how to swing a sword. But you know, he's supposed to be this like the one sword master who's defeated all the others. But he's so awkward when he seems to use one.
Now you see this?
Oh, hang on. I know what this is. So this is Mr. Schwarzenegger and his meme-worthy speech about his sword. So let's listen to this.
This is the Conan sword.
Such a beautiful
Now here's
sword.
the thing about swords. The more you temper a sword, the stronger it
Pause.
becomes.
The more you temper a sword does not make it stronger. Tempering is almost, it isn't quite, but it's almost a softening. So when you quench, it becomes the sword is extremely brittle. It's like if you dropped it on the floor, there's a good chance of it shattering into a couple of pieces or something like that. So it's really brittle. So what you do is you temper it, you heat it up again, but by no means to the levels we have been heating it up to. And what that does is it just pulls back that hardness, which gives it it keeps it hard, but gives it that flexibility that you see swords have. So tempering doesn't make swords stronger; it's actually softening them to some sort of degree. It's a very simplified explanation, but you know that's sort of what's happening.
The more you pound it with the hammer and then heat it in the fire and then thrust it into
Okay,
the cold water
water.
and then pound it again and plunge it into the fire and into the...
Okay, yeah. So pause that again. So we don't quench and then put it back into the fire. Why would you do that? Quenching is the hardening. That's what you do after you've finished forging to harden it to the hardness that you want it to be. You don't put it into water, into fire, into water, into fire, into water, into fire. You don't put it into water at all, you shouldn't be. But you don't quench fire. You don't do that at all. In fact, this has inspired me to do a video on the sort of more technical stuff of quenching. I'm by no means an expert on this or anything like that. I mean, but it's something that a lot of people don't quite understand or get wrong. And yeah, Mr. Schwarzenegger is a fantastic man. I love him. I love he's such an inspiration. So if you ever listen to some of his inspirational speeches, they're fantastic. But doesn't know much about sword making.
Often you do that, the stronger it becomes. I'm not telling you all this because I wanted to become
You're
an
not going
expert
to
sword
listen
maker,
to
but
that either.
our democracy is like the steel of this sword.
Good speech.
The more it is tempered,
Flawed in its
the stronger
analogies.
it becomes.
And there we have it, guys. We're all done. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you've learned something. If I've messed up, please feel free to tell me in the comments below. If there's anything you want me to look at in the future, any clips that you think I should look at and review, please leave in the comments below. And I'll see you next time, guys. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe on this video. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.